Hello, everyone. I hope you're ready. Let me see if there is another color. Let's go with that one. Okay, cool. Good morning, afternoon, evening, wherever you are. I hope you can hear me. Let me know if you can't. I know the screen's a bit bright right now. It really just depends on how bright the computer is at each given time. But yeah, so I'm Kev from OH. I'm one of the coaches, and today we're gonna be learning a new technology together. We're gonna give it a few minutes for people to roll in. Hope everyone's been having a good Global Hack Week. September. This is I think my second Global Hack Week. I'm running workshops, but this is water, I promise you. But the whole point of today is we're gonna get our environment set up. We're gonna be learning a new technology together, which means I'm equally most likely as bad at this. And I know it's always hard to get started learning, especially just like getting set up and getting that first go at it. So we're gonna work through everything together and do it as one. That usually helps people get started and get learning. But yeah, so like I mentioned, today what we're going to be really dealing with is Python, as well as Django, etc. So we're going to be learning a lot of new things, and as time permits, might try to deploy the application and get a domain for it, but we'll see how far we can get. But today's focus again is going to be mainly getting you guys set up for the development, including myself. I have never used this, which means if you're new to this, that's great. Stick around and learn with me. If you are not new to this, you can also stick around. Feel free to stick around, help out, because we can always use a few experts here and there. We might run into some problem. We'll do some troubleshooting together, but it should be a pretty smooth journey from there. We're going to be doing Python, Django, and depending how far we can get, we will be trying to deploy it to a service, DigitalOcean, and maybe also grab a domain name. But no promises in the last two because it's really how far we can get in the learning process. But for sure, we will be doing Python and Django. And Django is a web framework, and we'll be doing a lot of the basics for it. Again, if you're advanced, feel free to stick around to help out, to just chill and join the stream. It's going to be a pretty chill series because we're just going to move together, development, get people set up. What we'll be making, so initially, today we're going to be, because I'm new to this as well, you're learning with someone who's brand new, so you can see the process, and there's no pressures to ask questions. We're going to do research together, solve our problems together. But the goal is to get through the Django tutorial, and then by next part of this, as far as we can get through the Django tutorial, and by next part is build something extending the Django tutorial, and then maybe try deploying it by the third part. But it really just depends how this whole thing goes. What is your main tech stack for this project or overall? Overall, I do a lot of Python, C, C++, a bit of assembly here and there, front-end dev with React. But those are the few things I'm most comfortable with. So Python, I've done data science stuff in Python, but not Django. So we'll see how this goes. But make sure to check in. So I'm gonna drop the check-in link into chat. C++ is great. What's funny is I didn't get into Java over the summer, but it's a lot easier transition because C++ is pretty similar to Java. Let me drop this link. Make sure you guys check in and register. I just dropped into chat. Let me just make sure this works. Cool. So that is working. Make sure to check in. We're gonna give it a couple more seconds or minutes. Actually, give it 2 more minutes, and then we're gonna start the installation process. I'm gonna be working in a Linux machine, but if you're on Windows, feel free to follow along. We'll troubleshoot together if it runs any problem. What we'll be learning today, we'll be doing Django, but we're going to start with Python, getting everything installed and set up because this is a multi-track. I'm going to be learning along with you guys, so Don't expect me to be an expert, but we will be troubleshooting through everything together. And if there's anyone who's good at this, feel free to stick around and help out, give any helpful hints, tips, etc. But yeah, we're going to be doing Python Django make application. No, I'm not using Ubuntu. I'm using Kali Linux, which is built upon a different distro of Linux. Oh, I forgot this feature exists, but yeah, we'll be learning Python Django. And no, this is not Ubuntu, and it is Kali, correct? I had this VM already loaded, so this is a lot easier. I also pulled up some basic tutorial things we'll try to get through today. Mostly it will be getting things installed properly. So that reminds me, I probably want to bring up the Python website in case you don't have Python installed. Any flavor of IDE works, or if you want to use plain text, that works too. I would personally suggest getting an IDE of any sort, Visual Studio, etc. I'm going to be using PyCharm or just Vim. Either one depends what I'm in the mood for. But yes. Okay, I guess let's get started with some of our basic installations. So again, today we're going to be learning how to go through Django, so including all the installation process, which means first thing you probably will need is get Python. We can get the newest version, so Python 3.10.7. I think there might be I think we're on 11 already, but this is, let me check though. No, okay, yeah, no, Python 11 is out, but we're going to be using Python 3.10.7. Get this going. Boop. Minus this. I will drop the download link into chat for people. And just make sure you have Python installed. Make sure you have Python 3 installed. Any version probably doesn't honestly matter that much. We won't be using everything way too advanced. But this is the Python download link if you don't have Python installed. That's pretty cool. I have my Vim set up, so I might hop over the Vim, but IDE is generally easier to code in. We're going to go over Django, but we can go through that install after you have Python installed. VS Code is also pretty good to use because it's pretty versatile, so pretty fun. And then Django has SQLite built in, so I've just pulled up. If we do get to this part, we will be doing some deployment of a Django application, but honestly we'll see how far we get through first. So like most technology, I start off with just reading the documentation. So here's the website for Django. It's a web framework, and that's done in Python. Is why when you get Python installed. So if you haven't, please start installing Python. We'll give people a few minutes installing Python as we look over some of the Django documentation, and then we'll go from there. So let's see. So Django, here's a website. Getting started with Django. Depending on how new you are to Django, you can try a tutorial or dive into the documentation. We're going to start with installing Django. So let's pop out the installation guide. I need to find better background music. For some reason, it won't let me share my computer audio today, so we're stuck with whatever music this default software comes with. It's not optimal. I have not either, so we're in the same boat. We'll figure this out. That's what makes this track really fun, is I don't know any more than you do. And so you can be way better at me than this. Let's see. We'll pick another category of music. Let's try this. I have a lo-fi category. I wonder how good this is going to be. But that's perfectly fine. The whole point of this workshop is we learn together, so it's okay if you've never used Django. We will figure that out. So I'm gonna make this a bit bigger so people can see. Okay, cool. So quick install guide. It's a web framework, so I'm pretty sure from my understanding, Django can be used for many things, but we can find out. I just randomly pick a technology. So let's go to Django overview. So Django, with Django, you can take a web app. We can take web application from concept to launch in a matter of hours. Because has a web development from an app. Let's see, ridiculous fast, designed for our developers with application, blah blah blah, fully loaded. I think from my understanding, it does everything. But let's see. Django takes security seriously. Blah blah blah. Okay. Worst case, I will pull up some React and write some myself. But let me see. Django. I think it handles most of the backend, but I will have to check. I just randomly pick a tech. Hello, welcome. Let's see. So when you don't know what tech is used for, or tech you can do, what is Django used for? This is perfectly okay for something to Google. What is Django? Django is a high-level Python web framework that enables rapid development of secure and maintainable website. Built by experienced developer, Django takes too much hassle web development for a writing application. So let's see. Is Django used for front and back end? Here, your exact question. Let's see. Django is a collection of Python libraries. It's not even just one, it's a collection. So it's suitable for both front and back end. That's what I hoped for. I was pretty sure, but I wanted to check before I said anything because I'm just as new to this as you are. So it is good for both. Hi, just joining. Make sure we're going to be trying to learn Django. This is really going to be about getting it set up. So if you haven't, I dropped the Python download link. Just make sure you have at least a Python 3 installed of any version. The newer, the better. And then I had done React, and I think I've looked at Node code, but I haven't really had to write any Node code from scratch. I don't think so. It is a framework, so it is a library in Python, so you will be writing Python. But I don't know how similar it is to JavaScript, given the fact that I haven't done much of it myself. But from my understanding, at least it's a library in Python, so you should be writing in Python. I don't think it will be much of any JavaScript. But yeah, I also really need a haircut. That wasn't the plan until I went to the barber shop and it was closed. But we'll get a haircut. So maybe next stream I will look different. But that's okay. Okay, cool. So if anyone has any question, no, well, okay. I don't think so. So well, yes. React is a framework as well, if I'm pretty positive. So React uses JavaScript and HTML and mix. I forgot it's JXX and uses it to write front end. Django is different, that it is a whole web framework in Python that allows you to do front end and back end, from my understanding. But yeah, anyone feel free to correct anything because we're learning together. It's always perfectly fine to do that. Okay, cool. So let's see. I have Python installed already, so I am going to start working on, first I'm going to open up PyCharm and start a new project. You can use any IDE of your choice. It legitimately does not matter. I'm going to create a virtual environment. If you need to learn, if you're doing it through command prompt, we can look that up and go over that as well. Hello. We're just getting the install everything ready, and now I'm going to be generating just a Python file, and then we will go from there. So this way, this runs my Vim for me already. I'm gonna say yes. I don't think there's any technology stack that only allows for one thing. You can probably work with multiple different types of technologies. So you can probably write your front end in HTML, CSS, JavaScript, and then just write your Django for backend. But let's see. Let's Google it. So that's a valid question. Let's see. We'll learn about it together. I'm gonna go to what is Django used for? Oh, it's why is this frozen? It's heavily odd. Okay, give my computer like 1 second to catch up. But I am pretty positive. Yes, I agree. With that statement. Okay. Now it's catching up. Okay, cool. So can you? No, this is the funny thing is to me. I don't know if you ever have a teacher or professor like start Googling things in the middle of class, but somebody's allowed to do that, and it's not weird. Can you use reactive Django or any technology with Django? To be honest with you. Oh, there goes my computer. Hold on. 1 second. I think my computer's not like. I will as soon as my computer decides to work. With me doing the whole stream is not great for my computer. Give me 1 second. But make sure you have Python installed, and then we will start installing Forging. You did not see anything. So what's funny is this is a whole new VM I spun up for this, so I have no the heck clue why that's a default search. That just shows how popular that was. But that didn't see anything. Let me see what's going on. Okay, that's okay. Does anyone have any problem with installing Python? We'll try to solve those now as I work through technical challenges. But yeah, does anyone have an issue installing Python so far? It should be pretty easy of an install. I am gonna be figuring out what went wrong here. My side. That's great. Okay, cool. That's pretty normal for Python to be already installed. You can chill with my background for now. Welcome to my time as I fix my system. Reload. Okay, cool. So we're gonna start off with is giving the system more resources to hopefully balance this out. Thank you, thank you. Let's see. I like to have the music going while I'm doing dev. See, this is why learning is hard. Okay, so let's see. Let's hopefully this time we won't have problems. Remove this for now as it restores my VR. Yeah, it's great. Lo-fi music is great. I wish they gave me a better selection of music, but for some reason audio's not working well, so I'm stuck with what we have. I'm gonna just reboot this and then give it some more resources. And then I'm gonna go in settings. I'm gonna up my base memory to at least more than that. 2 gigabytes of memory is not optimal. I'm gonna give it 8. 1 second, let me adjust it. 8 gigabytes of memory. We're gonna up the number of cores, the processor it has to 4. Then now I'm gonna reboot the system. I really like yeah, sure. I really like the wave music that this moves to. I personally think it's really cool. So if everyone has Python installed, we will get started with Django as soon as my computer cooperates. Let's go. Oh, welcome to VirtualBox. That's what you use for virtualization. You don't need to know that. I'm gonna boot up Kali Linux. Hadoop. This gives me a fresh start environment. Clean. Don't worry, nothing is broken yet. Thank you for the messages. Cool dragon logo. Cool. Okay, I think that's our first hurdle of the day. I gave more resources to the VM now, so we shouldn't run into any more problems. If we do, we'll deal with them. For this. I am into cybersecurity. Is why I use Kali. Why it's also why I had a fresh Kali distro just sitting around because I was working on other stuff with it. I thought it would be easier to start on that, but might have proven myself wrong. I was testing out earlier, it was working just fine. So now it's throwing me all these problems. Is interesting. Here, since we're doing setup, worst come to worst, I'll set up by myself. Give me 1 second. Let me move that, and then we're gonna get setting up. If I can't have my things working, still gotta continue. So let's see. Let's see. One second. Okay. Here's what we're gonna do. I will set up my things on the side. As that loads, I'm gonna boot up another image, and let's go through the documentation and get you guys going, because installing can take a bit, and then I'll come back and fix mine on the other side. So welcome back to the stream. So we're gonna look up first is Django, and then we're gonna go from there. So Django, so we're gonna go to the documentation website again, framework. Okay, cool. Get starting with Django. So what we're gonna first do is installation guide. I'm gonna zoom in a bit. So installing with Python, if you have Python installed already, you can go ahead and get an environment going. So official release, blah, 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 provided by your operating system distribution. So I think this is mostly for Linux. So you might have Django installed if you have Linux. Let's see. I don't think you need to do this. Okay. Okay, so if you are on Windows, you would probably want to install an official release. So we're on any computer actually. So once you already have environmental setup, which if you have a Python, and you start a new project, you should. But let me pull up. So how to set up new Python VM. So I would start by making a folder. So wherever you are, start off by making a folder. So you can generate a new virtual environment. So you would just do this python-m. So Python make environment and the directory or where you want it. If you are on a command prompt, on a Windows, you would just first change directory into the directory you want to be in, run that. If you are on Mac or Linux, that's a bit easier to do. And I'm still going to try to boot up my system as you guys try that. You could. I don't know if conduct comes with that. Let's see. And then we're going to do is Django install. You can. If you want to do that, you can use Anaconda and have Django install this way, if you like. There's no limitation how you install it. That's what we'll post stream for. We're just here to solve everyone's problem, including my own. Let me bring this over to a different screen. So you guys still can see this screen. So install Django on whatever platform you like. I would, if you want to use Conda, you can. If you want to just create a VM yourself and do a pip install, so you just do python-m pip install Django. I'm going to be doing the pip install as soon as my computer chooses to work. If you haven't used, IDE is probably very helpful because they generally generate the whole environment for you. So I would do, I would do an ID in the sense that you can get like JetBrains, they give free education licenses, etc. Okay, so now you choose the word. Okay, cool. So for example, I will do an example of multiple ways. So if you're doing it through the terminal, you just generate a terminal, well, not more than one. So I would do a LL. I'm going to do a bash. I have my bash set up. I'm going to do LL. So here, right? So I can go and CD into, I can make a directory. I'm going to call it projects. Let me make this bigger. View. I make this bigger. Reference. Dark font size. Okay, so we're gonna make it 20. I'm gonna hate myself for this later. Okay, cool. This is huge. So we'll make directory project, right? And a CD, which is change directory into projects. Hello, welcome. So computer's working now. That's great. I'm gonna make this a bit bigger. Cool. So now we're in project. We do LL. There's nothing in here. You would just do. Let's make another directory, right? So make dir, and we can call it Django Setup. What is this? Global Hack Week. And then we're gonna CD into that. So I love how it tells you what path I'm in. So that's pretty easy. It is really pretty. I have a bash config up, so I just swap over to my bash. But definitely the Kali one is it has really good autocomplete and everything. But yeah, okay. So now we're gonna do the Python. Let's see. So I now have two things running on two different computers, but let's end this up. So you do Python-m pip install Django. But if you haven't set the environment, you want to do Python-m environment and then the directory. So we're gonna do Python-m. Virtual environment. So I'm missing the directory. I'm gonna just do. I think this works. See, so now if we CD into the virtual environment, there should be stuff in here. Okay, cool. So that's now set up properly. So now what we're gonna do next is do a pip install. So we're gonna do pip the Python 3 pip install. And then we're gonna do, let's see. So it was pip install Python-m pip install Django. So let's try that. Let's see if this works. Yes. Oh, so error came from Django, so we should be good. So that worked for me. I'm already set for that. But I'm also gonna boot up if you use ID like PyCharm. Let's see. I just hope things work a lot better this time. Cool. Project, open project. At least I tried to create one already, so let's see if it has been made. Desktop, Python projects. There we go. Trust this code. And this is the project I created earlier. It's just this brand new project. Cool. So I'm gonna double check my Python packages. I like this because it makes it really graphical, but you can also do everything in command line. So let's see. Python packages, select interpreter. So no interpreter, add new interpreter, local interpreter. That's fine. Creating virtual environment. Okay, so now we're gonna try and let's see if Django has been installed properly. Oh, it's still updating my skeleton, so that's gonna take a bit. Updating skeleton, show all. Has anyone successfully installed Django yet? I'm gonna bring up my web pages again and hopefully. Cool. So let's see. So these are what's installed. Let's move this over to inside the screen. And do this on the other side. Make this smaller. Installation guide. Let's check terminal. So we're gonna do pip install Django. There's a Django website. It's on the latest release. Nice. So I'm gonna double check mine. Pip install Django. Cool. Okay, so I just got Django installed. I'm gonna check my preference packages. Okay, cool. Django is now installed, so that's now taken care of. So next step in this tutorial would be, let's just install Django. That's done. Verify, import. So let's do just main file. You can just write any Python file. Oh, that's perfectly fine. As long as you have that installed. So I'm going to start by clearing this out. And then, I can use, I guess, my actual Python console too. And I can do import Django. See if that works. And then we can do a print Django.get version. Cool. So Django is fully installed. Move on to the tutorial. Let's see. So writing a first Django app, part 1. So has anyone been able to get this part? So you can do this in the terminal too. For example, if I do ll cd into projects, project ll cd into Django, I can do hopefully Python 3, and then do import Django, and then do print Django.get version 3.2. So this one has an older one because that's already installed in OS. That's perfectly fine. Okay, cool. So anyone having a problem getting Django installed that we need to try solving right now before we move on and follow this tutorial and learn our first Django lesson? Got any questions, concerns, comments? Okay, if you do, make sure to throw in the chat. If you haven't signed in for today, I'm going to do one more check for everyone who signed in. You want to get your additional swag. So make sure you check in there. I'm going to switch over to, if you have any question, make sure to ask in chat and we'll look over it. Okay, so let's do this. So let's learn by example. I'm going to make this bigger so we can read. Throughout the tutorial, we'll walk you through the creation of basic poll application. It'll consist of 2 parts: a public site that lets people view the poll and vote in them, an admin site that lets you add or change and delete polls. Let's assume you have Django installed already, which we just done. You can tell Django is installed, but we've done that. Okay, cool. You should see it. We did this, blah, blah, blah. Tutorial is written for Django 4.1, which supports Python 3.8 or later. If Django does not match, you can find the tutorial for your version. We just installed, so we hopefully should all be on Django at least 4.1. Create a project. So if it's your first time using Django, which it is, I hope for most of us, you'll find you'll have to take care of some initial setup. Namely, you need to auto-generate some code to start a Django project, a collection of settings for an instance of Django, including database configuration. Okay, so from the command line, you can start where you like to store your code and start running the command. Okay. So we'll do this through the command line. So first, let's boot up terminal. So you would just need to, I'm in this environment, you would just need to move into whatever your project's location is. I'm going to be doing mine at this root. So I'm going to be staying here. So I'm going to first do Django-admin start project my site. This will create a site directory. Let's see. There you go. So it started a my site directory. If you are on, you might need to upgrade your Django if you're doing it directly from here. All right. So if we do the same thing in projects, oops, projects. Oh. Projects LL, we would just need to do sudo apt dash update. Oh, I don't want to update everything. So let's do sudo apt update Django. Okay, I definitely did that wrong. Let's see. Let's update. Is it upgrade or upgrade? I think it's upgrade. Let me check. Upgrade Django. Okay. Dependency elements of the project Django. Okay, let me see. So if I do, let's see. So let's go with this. How to update your Django. To newer version. The whole Django documentation. So how to update your newer versions. Blah blah blah. Dependencies. Oh, what am I doing? I forgot. Django's installed in Python. Why am I doing it in Linux? So Python 3 pip install Django dash. Okay, wait. Camel file, Kelly pip. What's that directory? Well, Python. I think it's Python pip install. No, is it just pip install? Pip install Django. No, 3.2. At least Fisher is 4.1.1. So upgrade. Is it updates? Let's see. How about I'll uninstall pip install. So let's do pip install. Then let's do a dash help. Is there help for this? Okay, cool. So is there a way to specify the version? Let's see. General options index, clean package report, bash, no warn, global install options. I can do pip uninstall and then do a pip reinstall. I was seeing if you can just install. So uninstall. Let's try that. I'm pretty sure I can. Let me try. So I was looking for that syntax. So so Foster just threw in the chat. I'm gonna try. I think you can do this without uninstalling, but we'll find out right now. Django that equals oh dash upgrade. Okay. Well equals 4.1.1. There we go. So you don't have to uninstall it. You can just tell it to install the new version. That's what I was looking for, is the syntax for that. That's good. Okay, cool. So now you have Django 4.1.1 installed. Now if we go to Django Setup, LL, and just RM to a virtual environment because I'm not even using it. RM, well, I'm going to do a bash. So I've written some custom commands. I'm going to do a RMK and then do a vim, delete everything. Okay, cool. Turn off cap lock. Okay, so d dot, and then do z tsh clear. Okay, cool. So let's bring back up the tutorial page. So that's that. So let's, okay, cool. So if you are here, you can also do Django dash admin start project my site Django. Oh, there's admin DLL. See, my site is now installed. So that's how you would do it through command line. Also, if you are in editor, the same. So now my site, if it didn't work, see the running problem. It did work. So let's look at what start project created. So it created my site, which gives the exact same thing. So it has a my site directory, which has Python files. It has a managed py. These are the files. The outer file, my site, is a root directory, is a container for your project. The name does not matter to Django. You can rename it anything you like. The manage.py, a command line utility that lets you interact with this Django project in various ways. You can read all the details about manage and blah, blah, blah. Okay. It's not important to us right now. Let's move on. I wrote custom aliases for my commands. So for common bash commands, you can write aliases for, which I think I can show you, but essentially it allows you to, well, it's alias, right? So my RMK is just the remove command with dash v dash d dash like f. So it's like a force reverse through and deletes everything. But yeah, it's bash script and alias, exactly. So it's, you do a bash rc and then you can do a bash alias. I have a whole list of aliases in my bash, so I don't have to write each Linux command line every time. Okay, cool. So the inner my site directory is the actual Python project, Python package for your project. It is named Python package, name you use to import. So my site.url is the Python package name you'll need to use to import anything inside it. Okay, cool. My site init Python is an empty file that tells Python that this directory should be considered a Python package. Okay. We note that settings conversion of this Django project will be here. Okay. The declaration for the virtual total too. Okay, cool. We'll worry about this later. Entry point for yes, web servers. Okay, cool. So development server, let's verify the Django project work. Change into the my project directory. So I'm going to cd into my site, and then do Python manage.py run server. Cool. So it started a development server and ran at this IP. Let's see it. Cool, there you go. So Django's now officially done installing. We should have your local host should be running a copy of this. Let's see. Let's try to get everyone to this part before we continue moving forward. But yeah, we're gonna be doing this polling now. Then we can come up with a project together for at least part 2. But so Django is now properly installed, and we also launched the development project. What is this? No, I want to be at not this one. I have too many tabs at this point. So we ran the server, and that worked. So you started a Django development server, a lightweight web server written purely in Python. We've included this with Django so you can develop things rapidly without having to deal with configuration, configuring a production server, such as Apache, yes, until you're ready for production. Now, a good thing to note, don't use the server for anything resembling a production environment. That is true. It's in it for while developing, blah, 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 not web server. Okay. Okay, changing. Okay, so you can choose the port you want. Okay, cool, lovely. If anyone is not at this part, please do speak up. We'll go back around and catch you up. So I think this allows you for IP address as well. Let's see. If you want to change service IP, pass along with the port. For example, to listen on all available public IP, which is what we're running. You're going to show off your work on computers, network use, 0 dot, short 0 dot. Okay, cool. I don't think that really matters for us right now as we're learning, but let's see. The development server automatically reloads Python code for each request as needed. You don't need to restart the server for code changes to take effect. However, some action like admin files don't trigger restart, and you have to restart the server in this case. Okay, cool. Okay, so now creating the actual poll app. Now in the environment, a project is set up. You'll start doing work. Each application you write in Django consists of a Python package that follows the Shin convention. Django comes with a utility that automatically converts the basic directory structure of an app, so you can focus on writing the code rather than creating directories. So project versus apps. What's the difference between a project and an app? An app is a web application that does something. Example, a blog system, a database of public records, or a small poll app. A project is a collection of configuration and application for a particular website. A project can contain multiple applications. An app can be in multiple projects. Cool. So app is a small building block for a project. A project could be like Major League Hacking's website. An application could be different parts of it that runs different things. But yeah, okay, cool. Your app can live anywhere on your Python path. In this tutorial, we'll create our pull app in the same directory as manage.py, so you can import it as its own top-level module rather than a submodule of my site. To create your app, let's do the same thing through this command. Okay. So I will need a new terminal. So I'm gonna create one for myself real quick. So I'm gonna do ll. Okay, cool. So I'm gonna do Python manage py start app polls. No file that just takes me long. And py. Oh, I'm in the wrong directory, aren't I? Yes, I'm one out too much. So I'm gonna first cd into my site. Yeah, that might be too small. I should just do it here. I'm gonna do it with the actual terminal. So I'm gonna do ll cd cd ll cd python projects, ll cd python projects, ll cd my site. I should really just know this directory path. Then now I'm gonna do manage. Well, I'm gonna do Python manage.py start app polls. I'm gonna run that. So I'm gonna do ll now. So the new application has been generated called polls. I'm gonna cd into polls. So now it's everything, I guess, for the application. Okay, let's go back to, let me leave this over here so I can grab it later. Okay, cool. So that create a directory polls, which is laid out like this, right? So we have, at this opens, you can see it. So you have polls, a folder called migrations, init.py, admin.py, apps.py, models.py, test.py, views.py. This directory structure will house the poll application. Write your first view. Let's write the first view. Open the polls /views.py and put the following Python code in it. So let's do views. So it's empty. If you're on a text editor, great. If you're on IDE, great. If not, you can always do, if you have Vim install, whatever preferred choice, you can always Vim into views.py. Cool. So I do have my Vim configured if I want to use Vim. So I'm going to use Vim so everyone can actually see what I'm doing. So it says, I want you to do define index. I know it says you can copy and paste it. I like typing it, so it helps with learning. And I'm learning this with you guys, so let's do it. So first things first, we're going to do from Django.http import http response. Okay, and then we're going to do a def. We're going to define a function and call it index. You can follow along. If you have any questions about Python or what we're typing, feel free to ask. We'll answer that in chat as we go along. So, okay, cool. So define this function. And then we're going to return HTTP response, PONSE, and it's going to return quote, hello world. This is pretty common in comp sci. You're at the polls index. Let's make sure I type everything on HTTP response response. Cool. So now that's done. This comment should have gone above. It's okay. We'll just delete it. And now I'm gonna save what I've done. Okay, I actually capped it. Okay, cool. So now that's saved. So this is Simba's view. To call the view, we need to map it to a URL. And for this, we need a URL config. So we're gonna go back here. So your app directory should look like this. Wait, let's see. To create a URL config in the poll directory, create a file called urls.py. Okay. So if you are on any command prompt, actually I think this works in Windows, but I honestly don't know because Windows comes with If you have PowerShell, it comes with a bit more tools that are like Linux or Unix, but I don't recall. So you can tell me if not. You can always go to directory itself and makes it. So just make a note, like in Windows, just make a text document and call it with the proper extension. So I'm gonna touch. I like to use touch, so I always make sure the file actually exists. I'm gonna touch url.py. If I do an ll now, it will now have url.py, which is shown right here. So if you go here, you'll see an update. There you go, urls.py. So now in your urls.py, include the following code. I'm gonna bring back out the Vim. So let's do Vim urls.py. Okay, cool. So we're gonna do from Django.urls import path. Then do from .import views. And then let's do URL patterns is equal to bracket path quote singular quote views. I actually don't know if that matters because I never used this before, but we'll find out. Singular quote name is equal to quote singular quote index single quote. Close that out, comma, close out this. So this is Python, so we just made a list, but I'm not necessarily sure. We just did a list, give it a path, put it in. This is exactly, okay, cool. I think that's correct. I'm gonna write this file, right click, okay, cool. So next, the next step is to point the root URL config. If anyone is lost, please speak up. Okay, you caught up, no worries. Next step is to point the root URL config at the polls.urls modular in mySetURL.py and add an import for Django.url.include to and insert and include in the URL pattern list that you have. Okay, so now we need to go one out. So if you see, yeah, I'm actually gonna shrink this a bit just because you can't change. What's a good font? What's a good size? I mean, 16. That was even 16. I think 16 is fair, right? You guys can read at 16. Yeah, I think that's readable. So you can see we're at my site in polls. We need to go out one directory, so cd ... Now we're at my site. From here, let's do another Vim because we need to edit the URL profile here. Here, and then we're gonna write in this file the same thing from Django.contrib import admin, and then from Django, I missed the D, Django.urls import include and path. So URL patterns is equal to a list of two paths. So one is called path quote polls. I think we're telling Django is so if we go to polls as in your web browser, right? When you go into your actual URL, when you add polls, it's saying to include everything that has been made in the polls app with the polls URL page. So that's what we do. And then a quote polls.url close. So next item from this list. So we make another path. We're telling it, so another possible URL path for this URL would be admin. And for admin, you're telling it, okay, so that links to admin.site.urls. So I'm not sure what that links right now, but we'll definitely find out. And I'm going to close that list. Then I'm going to right click. Okay, cool. So we just did this. The include function allows referencing for other URL configs, which we just did. Whenever Django encounters an include, it chops off whatever part of the URL matched up to the point and sends the remaining strings to the include config for further processing. The idea behind include is to make it easy to plug and play URLs. Since polls are in our own URL config, they can be placed under polls or under fun polls or under content fun polls or another root path, right? So we told it to just, if they get polls, it can just reference that. So chop up everything before it, just path polls along. Okay, yes. So is this supposed to be in my site URL? Yes, it is. And for reference, you can always follow my path. I always have the paths out displayed here, right? So when we were on my site and we were in the URLs file in my site. So if we let's take a look at what we have so far. So if we're in my site, so we're gonna go cd. Oh, okay. I might have made a mistake myself. Let's see. So because I have two things called my site. Let's see. So this should be in my site /URLs. Polls, admin in it. It's okay. Let's see. Let's go up a bit to double check myself. I think you're supposed to be in my site, because that would make sense, right? Because based off what they're saying, how this works, you would want to be in my site. Yeah, but it didn't tell you to create it. So next step is point to the real config at polls URL module in my site URL. Yeah, so that was, I think that's my bad. So I'm gonna actually do a actually let's see. So we're gonna go to my site LL. So there's our URL in there. So we're gonna go back out one. Then I'm gonna do is I'm gonna move. Actually, I'm gonna cd into my site first. I'm gonna remove URLs. .py, and then I'm gonna cd outside. I'm gonna move URL.py to my site. So I just fixed my problem. Oh, did it have everything typed in there already? That's great. I did not know that, and I just removed my file, so I can know that. So I guess in my site, if you go into my site right, so we have two things. I'm gonna call this something else because it's getting on my nerves at this point. So I'm gonna cd out one more. So I would recommend you do this it's called my site. I'm just gonna call mine. I'm gonna call mine instead of my site. I'm gonna call it Global Hack Week Django. And then now I just cd into Global Hack Week Django, and then I will cd into my site. And then I will cat my URL page. So your URLs in my site should look like this. And then your URL in, what's the other one called? Oh, well, I should really know this. Your URL in polls should look like this. So one should only tell it that your path goes path, index dot, and the name is index. And then the other one should go, from Django that contribute import admin from Django URL import include path. I'm pretty sure from my understanding is this line should already be there. All you should be adding is the path polls include polls.url. So you're adding the polls URLs to that path. Zelfoster, correct me if I'm wrong, because I definitely missed that one myself. But yes, does that answer your question, Green Broccoli? Funny is these names are interesting. Okay, cool. Okay, if anyone has any questions, feel free to stop me and we'll go back down. Okay, so now once you include, so that's what include does. So let's read this again. So the idea behind include is to make it easy to plug and play URLs. Since polls are on its own URL config, polls/url.py, they can be placed under polls or under fun polls or under content polls or any other path route on the app, and the app still works. Okay, cool. When to use include, you should always use include when you include other URL patterns. The admin.site URL is the only exception. Okay, cool. So now I've wired an index view into your config. Verify it's working with the following command. So we're gonna go back here. I'm gonna go out by one. So I'm gonna do a Python manage manage.py run server. Okay. Ooh, I have problems. Is that a problem? Oh, okay. Because I guess I haven't killed the server. I'm gonna see if it automatically hits itself, but let's see. So this is the thing. So we're gonna do /polls. Hello world, your polls, you are at the polls index. That's great. So I'm gonna check my knowledge. I like to sandbox myself. So by my understanding, if I move polls, it would still work, right? So if I move polls into my site, and then if I refresh this, let me just make sure I do a manage. Okay, why does it error? Oh, because we didn't tell it. So let's see. So it says, let's see. Exception in thread left call. Find Django modular remove from DLL. Where am I? Oh, it's like here. Oh, is it giving me this error? Hold on. CD my site LL. If I do cats, actually I'm gonna do vim url.py. So path would be what I think would have to do what? Thank you for the congrats. Let's see. So if I do a slash and do my site, I just like playing around to see if this will work. I don't think will, but we'll see. So I will do another one server. You can't open Python, just manage those files from cd.log. So that's a different problem. No module card polls. Why is that? Let's see. So let's restore everything and then see if we can figure that out. But we at least got our, that's the first thing. So I'm going to cd into this LL. I'm going to cd into my site. I'm going to move polls out to dash.dom. Whoa. Oops, I meant to do. There we go. So it's now moved out again. And then if I do cd my site, I need to fix my vim file because I messed with that. I wonder, how do we get another URL? I want to figure that out before we move on, so we have an actual understanding of how this works. Anyone got a clue? Let's see. So this still works if I take out polls. Ooh. Okay, so I'm gonna first do run the manage. Oops. I need to go out one more. So if I run that, that's working fine now. So there's nothing because now, so admin should work, right? Because we built admin things. Admin does work. That's good. Let's see. Let's see. Okay, so that's working. That's good. I am gonna move on to, let's see. So I'm gonna bring up a new part window just to make sure. So now this leads to nowhere, and if we do /admin, it brings up the admin console. If we do this slash, I think what was it, polls? It brings up polls. Okay, cool. So that's great. So let's go back to the tutorial. So let's see. So go to polls in browser, and you should see that the text hello world. Okay. Page not found. The path function is passed 4 arguments to required route and view, and to option or a name. At this point, it's worth revealing what those arguments are for. So path argument route. Route is a string that contains a URL pattern, which when processing a request, Django starts at the first pattern in the URL patterns. It makes its way down the list, comparing the request URL against each pattern until it finds that match. Patterns don't search get and post parameters for domain names. For example, if the request is blah blah blah, it only looks from here on. Yes, my app on. In the request blah blah blah, it only looks from my app on. Okay, cool. In a request to blah blah blah, the URL config will look for my app from here, because that's because it doesn't look for a post or get parameters. Okay, cool. So path argument view. When Django finds a matching pattern, it calls a specific view function with an HTTP request object as the first argument, and any captured values from the route as our keyword arguments. We'll give an example of this in a bit. Okay, cool. Attribute keywords arguments can be, or keyword args, can be passed in a dictionary to the target view. We aren't going to use this feature. Cool. Name. Naming your URL lets you refer to it and unambiguously from elsewhere in Django, especially from within templates. This is a powerful feature allowing you to make global changes to the URL pattern of your project while only touching a single file. When you're comfortable with the basic request, read part 2. We'll figure that out. When you're comfortable with the basic request or response file, read part 2 of this tutorial. So we're going to database. Okay. Has everyone been able to at least get this up? I think we might try to catch people up if people haven't gone to at least this part. Well, not this part. The one with holes. This part. Well, I'm gonna try a few things, and we're just gonna play around in the playground now. Because I want to figure out is they mentioned how this path things work, right? You had to change it works. Okay, let me see. So I moved polls inside the my site, then change urls.py. You had to change. Okay, let's see. So llcd. I'm gonna move polls back into my site. Did I just make a directory? I did. Okay. Well, that's great. So I'm gonna cdm ll. Oh, I just renamed polls, didn't I? That's so funny. Okay. So I'm gonna cd out move m to polls. To ll. I'm gonna actually move polls to my site. Okay, I'm gonna cd into my site now. I'm gonna vim the url.py. Okay, so you were saying, okay, so I moved polls into my site, then changed the urls.py you had to path. Okay, so you mean I need to do this? Oh, okay, that does make sense. Oops, I'm in the search feature. Escape, input. So it knows to go down one more. Okay, cool. That's good to know. Right, quit. Okay, so now if I do to get error, we do Python manage.py run server. Oh, I need to cd out one more. Cool. So that's already in use. Let's try here. So I refresh now. I should get an error. What does it not give me an error? So that gives me error /polls. That also gives me error. No, okay, so it knows it's here. I was thinking, how do we get it so it's nested under a different one? So we got that taken care of. I'm gonna go back to the tutorial. Let's see. So creating a project views include browser. So path sites includes okay. Oh, I think it's okay. I'm just being dumb. I'm pretty sure it's because if I cd into my site and I do I'm gonna vim URLs again. It's because this is what actually determines the pattern. So if I want something else, I think I can do this, my site, or like testing polls, and I think this should get what I was trying to do. If I do polls now, it still works. Wait, if I do testing, polls, that doesn't work. Yes. Well, maybe let me try cd dot. Oops. So if you do cd minus back by 1 and then cd dot. Okay. Yeah, that's what I just did. Let's see. I'm gonna close the server. So Control C to quit server. On server. Hello? Or it's already in used. Oh, I forgot I ran it here. That's why that was not working. Let's see. Okay, cool. So yeah, that does work. So I just changed the path. So testing doesn't work. If I just do polls, shouldn't work either. No, okay, cool. There you go. So you can maneuver your path however you want. Okay, cool. I think we might call this for part 1. Part 2, we'll go on and actually make the app, and then part 3, we might try to do some development. What's that thing again? What thing? Rex, what thing are you prefer perhaps mentioning here? I'm glad you're learning something because I learned actually some things here. So that's good. But yes, Rex, if you want to drop what question you have, we'll take questions now, questions, concerns. I'm going to chill around for a bit to help anyone catch up or move along. And then there will be a part 2, which supposedly, let me see, it's supposedly, I should know this really, it's happening on Tuesday at 1 p.m. We're going to be continuing this build. Well, ooh, hold on. Thanks. Found that you can delete the path to make it the default site. How do you do this? Oh yeah, we're learning. Well, I'm not teaching Django. I'm learning Django with everyone. But yeah. I'm learning Django with everyone. So this is more of a learn together. So you're saying what? You can delete the path to make it the default site. I'm gonna cd into manage site. I'll cd into. I'm gonna dim URL. What do you mean? Oh, you mean this? Yeah, that does make sense. You're saying no words. I'm gonna do a slash here. I think that would still work. Right, quit. I'm gonna need to. Control C, relaunch the server. Poll should no longer work. Yeah, so the default site would just be, oh, I guess this will require --. Okay, so that's just a blank. Cool. But no, again, we're not key. We're learning together, Django. But yes, this is a Django workshop. So I am going to fix that here real quick. LCD settings. The vim, that URL again. I'm gonna fix this to how the tutorial intended. Polls, and then since I'm gonna be chilling around to solve people's question, let's make another page for fun. So to make sure we actually know what we did. Okay, well I can't type. Okay, so first let's create a new page. So that was what? So we need to go to manage first. So we're gonna do Python manage.py start app, and then the new app name. So we're gonna call it what do we call it, guys? What's the application you want to build afterwards? So we're gonna do the polls, do the tutorial, and then want to make our own apps. So what do we want to do? The calculator? What do we want to do? Nothing too complex. But what do you want to do? Maybe water break? Yeah, it's water. It's definitely water, by the way. I promise you, this is just water. Okay, I'm gonna call it calc. Maybe we'll build a calculator for fun. Maybe we'll do a GPA calculator or something. Something people will learn something through the process. Okay, so now we have calc. So we cd into calc. We now need to do LL. So we need to make the URL directory again, right? So I'm gonna touch url.py. I'm gonna cd out of calc. I'm gonna cd back into my site, and then polls, because I don't remember what URL looks like. So it should have from Django url.import. Oh, 2:43 a.m. or p.m. So I'm gonna make this a.m. Oh, maybe you should go to bed, sir. Might be a good time for bed. That's crazy. Okay. So I'm gonna essentially copy this. So you can do from Django.url import path. So we can call the path function, and then from dot import views, and that should be left. Okay. So I'm gonna try to do this without. So we have generate URL pattern. So I'm gonna cd out. I'm gonna cd into my calc, and I'm gonna vim into that. And so when you first, the thing was import. What was it? So what we need to first is import path. So it was from Django.url.urls import from Django.url import paths. I think it was one just path. Let me see. From Django. So it's not. It's this one. Okay. Well, no. Yeah. Okay. So this path. So it was URL. Okay. Cool. Then when we do from the current root, you import views. Okay. Then you do a URL pattern. Let's go over. So then you want to make a URL pattern list, and then you want to set the path. So we do a path, and then we are making the path just empty quotes, and then we are reading that to what? I don't remember. So so then we link it to the views, right? So we do views.index, and then the name is equal to index. I'm gonna look at that again. Okay. Yeah, and a comma, and then we're gonna close this one out. And right quit. Where do we put the views again? I can't recall. Oh, so it's in the views.py. Okay, so it's inside the calc folder, the views.py. So I'm gonna vim views.py. Great, cool. So for this view, I don't remember if there's anything specific that needs to be in here, but we'll see. So in the views, I know, yeah, so that is just you creating whatever you want to display, right? So we can do a def index, because that's the thing we called. Okay, cool. So the request, we'll just return HTTP response. I'm gonna do hope you are having a great global hack week. End of quote. For now, but hopefully when it's more complex after. But for now, we'll call this right quit ll. So now all we need to cd into your well, I did not cd out one. cd dot ll. We're gonna cd into my site to ll. We're gonna cd into polls. I think no polls. We're gonna cd into polls. No, we're gonna edit, right? So we're gonna edit URLs, py, URL here. Okay, so we're in here. So we need to generate a new path for our new thing. So we left out the root this time. So we just make a path. We're gonna call this Global Hack Week for now, but it's gonna be calculator later dash. We're gonna do a comma, and this is gonna include, and it's gonna include just calc dot urls, end of quote, and okay, cool. Let's see if this works. So I'm gonna reload it already. So if I go here, that should take us nowhere. Okay, that didn't work. One server. Oh, why? Something wrong? Oh no, something went wrong. Okay. Reason call iter pattern modular object is not iterable. What did I break? Let's see. Cat URLs. So I did a path. I will have to include calc URLs. I think that's correct. So something's wrong on the outside, right? Let's see. So we're gonna list everything. We're gonna cd into my site. Oh no, we're gonna cd into calc, right? Cd into calc. Okay, let's see if the error gives something actually. So this threading that has nothing to do with us. Wrapper, nothing to do with us. Check, nothing. So package. What did I do? Oh, line. But that's in the resolver. So something is wrong somewhere. Okay, let's go back here. I'm gonna fit them into this cat. Probably doesn't get one here. Let's see. So from Django.urls, let's check the tutorial. So from Django.urls, oh no, create the view first. So from Django.urls, import path. From dot import views, URL, oh, patterns. Okay, that's it. That's crazy. One letter threw me off. Okay, cool. Right, quit. Let's see if that fixed it. I think it did. Okay, cool. So we're gonna go here, refresh. Okay, cool. So now we have one called global hack week. Cool. That helped. Oh, ooh, that was not good. Not the fine response. Okay, so my HTTP response, did I not import it? Oh, I spelled it wrong. HTTP response. There we go. RESPO. I think. RSPO NSE. Isn't it wrong? Oh, I forgot to import it. That's why. Okay. From Django. What is it? No one got a clue. It's from Django. What is the response one called? It's from Django. Import. Okay. HTTP import HTTP response. There we go. So now we have no problem. Oh, wrong web page. No problem. Cool. Hope you have a great global hack week. Cool. So I went through things. I think no one has any question. If that's the case, I will see you guys on this in Eastern Standard Time. I'll see you on Tuesday on 1 p.m. for the next part, which will complete the rest of this project. But please do stick around for later tonight. We will be having at 6 o'clock, which is the Space Team mini event, and also at 7 o'clock, developing your first mobile app with Flutter and Dart. But yes, anyone wants to have any questions, feel free to stick around. I do hope you have a good evening, night, whatever, and get some rest. But again, make sure to stick around. Come back at 6 p.m. or 7 p.m. for the next 2 events. And I hope everyone have a great Global Hack Week. You should go to bed. See, get some rest. It's pretty important. It helps your brain think and process information. I should get some bed too, but it's okay. I'm glad you enjoyed it. I hope everyone learned a lot. I learned stuff myself, so that was good. But yes, please do come back at 6 p.m. or 7 p.m. Have a good night, everyone, or good morning, evening, wherever you are, and take care.